Welcome to Civitai.com, the home of the generative AI art community. If you enjoy this video, please consider hitting us with a like and subscribing, as it'll go a long way in helping us continue to bring you the highest quality AI community content. Please enjoy the video. Twitch, what is up? Welcome to an AI video and animation, which is a special guest stream with my man, Willis.Visual. If you do not know who this man is, I went ahead and pinned his Instagram link to the top of the Twitch chat. This guy is practically responsible for me even starting to get into AI animation in the first place. So we're just going to have a chat about everything today. We're going to talk about the past year. We're going to talk about where we think things are going. But Willis, real quick, before we dive into anything, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and just tell the people who you are?
Cool. How's my volume, by the way?
I'm gonna ask Twitch right now, guys. How
is my volume?
Can you guys hear Willis? Are we good on Twitch?
Got a thumb here.
Hello. Twitch, anyone out there? I see there's a lot of you in the chat. Let me get a yes or no in the Twitch chat. Boom. Awesome. We
All
got okay. Jeru said that volume is erect. We're good to go.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm Willis. My tag is Willis.Visual. I guess I started making art on the computer during COVID. I was like, oh shit, I have more free time now that my I'm a dentist also. So during COVID, I was open like one day a week. So I was like, whoa, I have a lot of time. Let's try something new. So I started making computer art using 3D at first. So I was just making like infinite loops, those little looping visuals of like scenes and stuff. And then once AI came out, I'm like, all right, I can make more stuff on the computer by clicking around, pressing keys. All right, let's do it. And now we're here.
So okay. I remember when I first saw your Instagram, like when I first found you, I didn't have to scroll down your page too far to see your 3D stuff that you were doing on Instagram initially. What did you see in the first place that kind of like made you jump from making 3D content to, oh, I want to try this? Like, what was it for you? Because for me, honestly, it was seeing the videos you were making in Warp, because you had messaged me and asked me if you could use one of the dance videos I shot of Phoenix, where I put the multiple arms behind him in After Effects. And I saw what you did with that. I was like, holy crap. But yeah, so what was it for you that made you gravitate towards AI?
Yeah, I guess a few things. Well, first of all, so 3D, obviously, for everyone who has used it, you have used it. Yeah, you've been learning Blender recently, these few months here and there.
That is a very, very rough statement, but yes.
The donut and stuff. But yeah, 3D. At first, 3D is like, I mean, 3D is still amazing, and like the things you can do with it, and like the way that everything is a calculation, how it just calculates all the light and like you texture everything. Like everything is just really cool, and you can make things that, I don't know, like you wouldn't be able to do in real life. Like you can make these infinite looping scenes by duplicating scenes here and there. So but it's all very complicated, and like there's just a lot of just tiny details that you have to like pay attention. Like some small things could mess up the whole scene, stuff like that. And then it was a hobby. So I mean, I'm not like a professional by any means. So I was just learning and like making things I want to make, and then everything would always take a really long time, and like I'm super like anal about like little things, and so like it's just like anal about like little things, and so
wait, yeah. where are we getting feedback there? Did someone? Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, yeah, so I'm just anal about really like all these minute details, so it just costs so much mental energy to make 3D scenes as a hobby, and like try to make like complex things. And then so I was already kind of burning out after doing it for like a year or so, just like constantly learning and making stuff. And then once AI came out, and then I was actually just scrolling through Instagram, and then I saw a few pages. Like one of them was Phil's page, Machine Delusions. I saw his page, and then he had some really cool pictures. I think it was Disco Diffusion, and there were like these like geckos and like really cyborg type images, and I thought those were super sick. And then another page I saw was, I think it was Holosomnia. That person was making like really aesthetic looking anime inspired type of environment things, and it just looks really cool. And it's just like, whoa, like it's something I haven't seen before. It's like its own like new genre, like AI images, and like making these really complex looking scenes with a fraction of the effort, to put it bluntly. And so I was just like, whoa, like let me just look into this. And then I came upon Remy Moletti. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Dude, Remy's stuff, I still every now and then will go back to his page and watch some of his early stuff, because the way that he did it, it was just like, even with all the flickering, it was so tasteful.
Yeah, like the way he's like with the flickering, with really consistent stuff, there's always a way to like make it into something depending on like your vision of it, I guess, and your like ability to make the quality work with whatever you're making. But his stuff, and also Infinite Vibes, who is still making stuff on Instagram. He's doing a lot of anime dip stuff combining with Blender. Looks really dope. And so those two were my like first video inspirations. I was like, whoa, like there's just, after the images, now there's video. So there's just like infinite possibilities on like both ends, images and video. And the video is just like an even bigger black hole. And then I saw that Remy did a bunch of dance videos. There was one he did with disco, with like the robot popping, like it's like the orange video. That one was, I was just like, whoa, that is just insane. Like I want to make that, because I used to dance too, and you dance too. And then I used to dance way back.
My favorite one I saw on Remy's page is still the black and white, the skeleton in the desert, right? Isn't I think he collaborated with this other dude, Mike Soul or something, but it was just like black and white skeleton, desert, and just like real erratic movements, and it was only a couple seconds long, but it like, that video blows me away even when I still watch it.
Yeah, that one reminded me of like Attack on Titan, like one of those Titans. That was super fire. And then Remy did one with Dylan Mayoral, one of the a well-known dancer, and that one I was just like, the possibilities are insane. Like, let's freaking go and like make AI dance videos now. Everyone who I used to follow, who like I really like for dance stuff, I'm gonna like try to hit him up and see if I can make some videos and do a collab and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
Okay, so was the thing that really cracked it open for you though Warp? Like, was Warp Fusion the thing that really like, was that the moment for you, or was it just regular like batch image to image before that?
Well, batch image to image already was really fun, and I made like 3 or 4 videos with just plain batch image to image within automatic 1111. The first one I made was with Marcus Fabianito, and this one was in October 2022, because I've known Marcus since the dance days in LA, and so I was just like, hey, you want to like experiment with this new thing where you can just turn into anything, even though it's super flickery. Yeah, it was this one.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Oh, let me just send the link.
Yeah, drop the link in the chat, and then also here Jeru actually posted one of Remy's classic things on Twitter. Let me show this to everyone real quick.
Yeah.
This is like prime old vid to vid that still is just like so cool. Is this disco? Or is this early Warp?
It looks like disco from the thumbnail.
this looks like disco, right? Like if you look at the stuff that's on it's playing on my screen right now.
I was playing on your screen.
Like, man, I still think this looks so cool.
How do I see your screen?
Oh, if you click out
screen.
of like to the, yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, and make it rad. Dude, it's been so long that I forgot that Warp actually was disco, and that Warp was built off of the disco notebook, right?
Right. Something like that. He like adapted it to Stable Diffusion or something. The mysterious man Alex.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
that
stuff, like before like we even had flickery consistency issues, like disco was already like interestingly consistent, even though like it's all like really trippy stuff, but like yeah, and like yeah, those zooms were so smooth. The one that Phil just posted.
Yeah, man, this is still top tier.
Poor bots.
Like, this is what we're looking at right now, everyone on Twitch. This is from Machine Delusions. Like, this is early disco diffusion animation, which I know to make something this long probably took a very long time in disco.
I actually optimized these animations. Alex, the genius madman, wrote an algorithm called Turbo, and it was basically like an early frame interpolator. And so for every one frame I rendered, it interpolated like 7 extra frames. So even in the disco days, I was able to pump out like minute-long animations and, you know, probably half an hour to an hour, which is like very, very good. But yeah, like the pictures that I posted in the chat there, it would literally take hours to render those.
So sick, man. And they still hold up, which is the awesome thing.
Yeah, they look freaking cool. There's this like weird smoothness to it that's like different from everything.
So, okay, I know that a lot of people probably got their start from watching you and so like before I actually reached out to you and hit you up, I was stalking your Instagram and looking at your hashtags and trying to figure out what the hell you were using to make the videos.
How you're using.
Oh, wait, we got to mute someone. Yeah, okay, we're good. Guys, please keep yourselves muted if you're not chatting. And I saw that you kept using the hashtag Warp Fusion. And then I think I saw one of like your posts on Reddit and you answered someone's comment in the subreddit. And that led me down the rabbit hole where I finally found Alex's Patreon. And then once I finally downloaded the Warp Fusion notebook, I had just got to my PC. So here I am, maybe like 2 weeks into actually owning my first PC, coming from using a Mac since I was like in my early 20s and just not knowing how to do anything. And I reached out to you. I was like, dude, are you willing to just jump on like a Zoom call with me or something for like 30 minutes and just like help me get started with this? And you didn't have to. You said yes. And that kind of started this like, what's the way to explain it? Just like the idea of the sharing that still like carries through the AI community, at least for me, because you didn't know me aside from having used one of my videos. You didn't have to jump on a call and walk me through warp settings. But you've done that for a few people, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially with warp. Definitely done that a lot. And I feel like back then, before anyone really made tutorials, that exact process that you just outlined was like how people started like figuring out how to get started. Because that's exactly how I figured out how to get started. I think I was also on Infinite Vibes comments, just going through every video, going through all the comments, going through all the hashtags, and I saw like stable warp, and I was like, stable warp. All right, Google. Let's figure this out, and I want to make that too.
But at first I was like, okay, wait, it's disco diffusion. Wait, what's warp fusion? Wait, what's stable warp? Wait, what's turbo warp? Because like people would use different names, and I'm just like, oh my god, which one is the one, and what's the thing? And then, oh, why is this so complicated?
The crazy part is like after all of that, like how many people use warp fusion now? I don't know. I haven't seen anything come out from warp fusion in a while.
Dude, I see like every now and then Alex will post a warp video, and then, you know, I actually went back and looked at a bunch of my old warp stuff from like the middle to the ending of my time with warp, because I was making like a reel for something a couple weeks ago, and like a reel of just like my previous work. And I was like, damn, there's actually a lot of really cool stuff here that I would like to revisit. But if I could use warp in the same comfy environment that I use Animate Diff in, I would 100% use it on a regular basis. Like 100%.
Node or something. If there was like a small like node cluster or something that you can just pop in.
Exactly. If there was just like a Warp Fusion node pack, you know, they have a Deforum node pack. If just like I could have a workflow for Warp Fusion in Comfy that ran in the same Comfy environment as everything else, I would 100% still mess with it, because there are things that I was able to make in Warp that I go back and look at. I'm like, there's no way I can make this in Animate Diff.
Yeah, some things come to mind. Like there, like some like subtle differences that actually make a lot of difference depending on like who's looking at it. Yeah, it's interesting to talk about the differences of Warp and Animate Diff, because when Animate Diff first came out and like we had like they hadn't figured out the context windows yet, and then they just like it was just like the really short, I think 16 frames or something, 24 frames.
Yep.
I was just like, holy shit, like this is going to be the future. Like things inside the video are making a little more sense because there's consistency between the frames. I don't know how you call it. There's context. I mean, there's like more like a fire is going to behave more like a fire, and like water is going to behave more like water. It's just like, holy shit, this is like the next step. But then in a weird way, some of the Warp Fusion videos, the like flickeriness or something, and this is just personally for me when making like certain types of dance videos, because with the dance videos I made a lot of like tutting and like popping stuff, or like I really like those kind of like more like I don't know, there's like a kind of like a rhythm to it. I don't know how else. There's like the musicality. So the musicality, I feel like with Animate Diff, it's like really good for like a lot of your stuff and Gertie's, where it's like very, it's almost
like contemporary, modern, big movements. It can't
flowing movements.
That's why I haven't been doing as many like popping videos or hip hop videos as I was doing when I was doing Warp, because it like when the people are actually like popping, it can't capture the details. So, and I don't want to water down someone's thing.
Yeah, like the little like hits and like the little flickers in certain areas. For some reason, like Warp, like it kind of translates through, like in the results. Like you're kind of hitting like some like the beats and like the angles and the musicality. And then sometimes like Animate Diff, like because of how well it tries to flow together and how well the context kind of goes from frame to frame, it kind of like is too smooth for certain types of dance, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is interesting.
Totally. But so, dude, like, when was the last time you opened up the Warp notebook? Do you know how long it's been?
I tried to, like, I don't know, maybe it's been like half a year or something, but I tried to make something, but it's just, I don't know. It was hard to make something.
I'm like even trying to remember how to boot up the Warp notebook again and how to install a version.
There's so much trial and error. It's like every time something new comes out, like the amount of trial and error like condenses a little more, and like you get a little more control as the things come out. But yeah, I remember just like, oh yeah, the big thing in Warp is I would always, my final runs for the videos would always be like 5 or 6 different videos, and I would just cut them together and like mask certain areas that like didn't make sense, or like mask certain areas where the bodies would do something really weird. And then so all those final videos of my warp dance videos, they're all like composites of like 5 results, because like no one result was like giving me like getting me like making me satisfied. Like there's always like little things that I need to mask over with another run, stuff like that.
Oh, here, I'm gonna pull up your Instagram real quick, and we're gonna go back, and then we're gonna talk. We're gonna go back and we're gonna look at some of your warp stuff, and then we're gonna talk about kind of the direction you've been going with the images and making those move. But what was the jellyfish with animated J? That was animate diff, right? Or was that warp?
The jellyfish, the really trippy jellyfish one where he's doing the hand stuff.
Yeah.
There it is. Oh yeah,
right
that one that's warp fusion.
That's warp. Okay.
Yeah.
This one was insane, bro. This one, when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, Willis keeps putting out bangers. I thought this was so sick.
This one was really sick. I really loved how that one turned out. And yeah, this was like 5 different runs just like mashed together. And the way that warp fusion is really like kind of trippy and changes everywhere allows you to do that and like hide the little cuts and masks more than like animate diff, I feel.
And the crazy part is do you even remember if you used any LoRa's on this or if it was just prompting?
It was mostly, I think it was, yeah, the thing with me is I didn't really use that much LoRa's with warp fusion. I use a lot of LoRa's with animate diff, but with warp fusion, I was using the deliberate V2 model for a lot of my stuff, and then it was just prompting and settings.
Man, yeah, that one was insane. Or there's, dude, you have so many that like when I think about it, I can just like recall the video. Like this one too blew me away when you.
Yeah, that one with Marcus. This is before Gertie blew up the marble statues.
Yep.
Right before.
Dude, the vaporwave statue, like this was rad, man. And there's some weirdness. There's like a certain type of like weirdness that you get with warp that you don't get with animate diff. That is actually like looking back at it now, it's like really kind of like endearing.
This part is Deforum. This part was this was a collab between me and Late Cognito, Bardia. So this one was Deforum. He did the second part where it just kind of like turns into this zoom. Yeah, this is pretty sick.
So cool, dude.
Yeah, and that first scene, that was just there's like this little stair area in my backyard. So Marcus just came over, we shot that, and then made the thing.
And then you were also doing work with Don Diablo for a minute.
Yeah. It was pretty tight.
I remember I saw this one. I was like, oh, I need to figure out his settings for the fingers. How's he getting such good fingers?
Yeah, it's pretty tight. Yeah. I actually got to like talk to him on the phone and like make this with him. So that was pretty sick.
Do you ever just go back and like look at your stuff and like, wow, I made a lot of media
sure.
in like the past year.
I really like the Howl's Moving Castle one with Mindong, the Korean popper. Down more.
Down.
Up more. Above. Right there.
Oh,
yeah,
this one.
Japanese temple. Yeah, at the Ishimi, whatever that temple was called. Yeah, that one was super sick. And like little things like hand going over faces, like screwing it all up. That's just like AI has such like funny little rules that you have to figure out like to make something like make sense.
Yeah, no, dude, you were definitely ahead of everyone for a minute with all these.
Yeah, I mean this one's pretty sick. I mean, I wonder like if I try to remake this new thing with like, I mean, I feel like I'm not caught up with animate diff right now because I've just been so out of the loop. But that would be cool to like remake some of these warp fusion ones with like the same theme and same video and see like how if it can be improved or how it just turns out, that'd be interesting. But then, of course, that requires time, and I want to play with all the new toys instead of try to make videos.
Exactly. And then we'll show one more warp one here because, man, when you did this first Lego one, it blew me away.
This was tight.
This was like, I really thought this was top tier Lego stuff at the very back when you came out with this.
It's so funny. Like, it's so trippy the way that faces morph. Oh man,
dude.
Yeah, and like, yeah, the warp fusion. It's like it just captures all the little intricacies of the musicality. Like for this video is a good example. Like, it might not be as sharp if with animate diff, just like right off the bat. You might have to like really tweak the settings.
I mean, I really think the difference is because of the way that Warp Fusion had like the optical flow stuff built into it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think so, yeah.
Because as far as I know, I don't think we have optical flow in animate diff. Maybe someone can confirm that for me, but not. Yeah, the flow maps in Warp Fusion, I think, were some of the magic.
Yeah.
I can shed some light on it if you'd like.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, put simply, Warp Fusion was a frame-by-frame process, and they used optical flow to guide the movement. So at any given time, it was only rendering a single picture. So, you know, Gertie with his statues would one-shot 1080 completely right out of the box, and it would work because it would never CUDA, you know, one frame at a time, and optical flow would hold it down. But with animate diff, we now have two pieces of the puzzle working to the same goal. You have the motion module of animate diff, and then you have the aesthetic model of, you know, like 1.5. And so the latent size of the aesthetic model 1.5 is sitting at like, you know, 512. And then when we deviate too far, you know, we get double heads and the image quality degrades. And then animate diff is actually a little bit below that. So the biggest factor here is actually animate diff pulling down the quality, and then that paired with the fact that animate diff does a 16 frame context window. The size of the context window, quote unquote, the box, you're trying to shove just as much information in that box as you would a single picture, and it's not like you can make the box bigger. So the trade-off there is degradation of quality. And yeah, it's basically those multiple factors that really like pull the quality down, or, you know, make warp appear to be sharper, basically.
Mm.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
So
it has a lot to do with the context windows for sure.
So okay, then oh no, go on. Sorry.
Oh, it's just something that popped in my head. Like, just looking at the recent stuff that people have been making with animate diff, like including your stuff, Tyler. Like, it seems like the context windows are more hidden. Like before, like you can kind of see where the context windows are trying to get stitched together. There's like more jumpiness, but you guys have kind of figured out how to make things more coherent and smooth throughout. Is that because of the new IP adapters, or is there something different that's going on?
So I think it's a combination of everything. I haven't used LoRa's period in a very long time. All my videos are straight IP adapters now. So a lot of my time, because, okay, with Warp, it felt like every video we had to dial in the control nets in some different way, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes if you got lucky, your exact same settings from your previous video worked, but there was a lot more tweaking that had to go on from video to video. With animate diff, I can more or less just kind of keep my control nets at what they're at, and it'll give me like the consistency I want, period. So if you have a workflow that's kind of set up and optimized now, most of my time goes towards making reference images to feed into my IP adapters based on what I actually want to make, which almost feels more fun because now it's like less getting lost in the little like minute technical numbers and details, and it feels more like constantly exercising creative direction.
Yeah, just letting the ideas guide you rather than the constraints of the program or whatever, the script.
Yeah, and with kind of like how good the IP adapters have gotten now, because at first it was like, okay, I'm gonna browse Pinterest and figure out what I want my thing to look like, and I'll grab some images for characters and some images for backgrounds and whatnot. But now I can go on Pinterest, browse to get inspired, and then if I see an image I really like, snatch it, throw it into SDXL or into Midjourney, use it as a reference, and then generate what I actually want in that style that I want. And now it's like, now we're getting into the area of where we can really bring the actual thoughts in our head out, because if the video is going to be based on our reference imagery, we can literally create our reference imagery and then continue to refine the images to refine the video.
Yeah. That is sick. It's sick that is what is possible now. Like when IP Adapter first came out, I was like, this is cool. And then as people play with it more, I was like, this is really, really cool. As it got better too.
So Katz in our Discord chat asked what tools you use now. So like right now, when you go to make a video, like if we were to look at your Instagram lately,
yeah,
like okay, let's check out this one. Where is the one where you got like 2 million views on it? I know it's somewhere towards the top. It was
third row, last one.
Boom, this one right here.
Oh yeah, that one was the first one I made in this style.
And so is this Midjourney Runway or Midjourney SVD?
This particular video is Midjourney, Stable Video Diffusion, and Runway.
See, so again, you are constantly mixing and matching all the tools.
Yeah, and that one I started making stuff in this style and then I just kept doing it because it's fun for me. I started because I saw Liber XO, this Japanese guy who was posting.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen his videos?
Dude, that guy
followers or something now.
that guy's account blew up. Oh my god! With that like horror anime aesthetic thing he's doing, like he blew up.
Yeah, I saw what he was doing, and I was like, because I saw one of his videos. He was doing like a chess concept where it's like these like really holy looking chess pieces as characters, and it looks so cool and it's so detailed because freaking Midjourney's model is insane. And then I found out he was just doing Midjourney and then throwing them into Runway and making videos, and I was just like, whoa, this is cool. Like you can make these super detailed images kind of come to life, and so that's a cool idea.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
How long were you? Because I know these things, like sometimes you have to re-roll a lot to get a good generation from an image.
Gotcha. It's a gotcha machine for sure.
How long on average do you think for one of these videos you would spend before like you finally had a cohesive set of the things that like you felt were good enough to make the video with?
I mean, sometimes it takes like, so just for one like little like, I mean, split second scene, sometimes it takes like 20 runs. And also it's heavily dependent on like what the picture is, like the composition of the picture and like what elements are in the picture. If the element is easy to define, like a subject and like background, foreground, and it depends on the service or workflow I'm using. Some services are better at certain things. Like for example, like with Runway, let's go with Stable Video Diffusion, the open source one. So with that one, for the characters, I find it's really only useful for those little like straight up like pan shots, like it's straight up just like this, and it's actually pretty good at it. And so like I found out that it's okay at that. And so, and then for Runway, like its image to video is good at like making characters go like this. And so it's just these little things about certain services like being better at little things than other services. You kind of just have to like just kind of experiment, but which is also the hard part because like you have to pay for these services if they're closed source. And so if you're paying for them, you have a credit system, but you have to use a ton of credits to get even one usable clip. So it's just like, I don't know, not the most efficient way, but the fact that it can give you some interesting results that like is hard to imagine without AI, that's like the driving factor for me to keep like playing with these, especially like recently, like with Luma, everyone's been playing with Dream Machine. Yeah, that's been pretty fire.
So how do you, okay, your most recent one, did you use Luma for that? This one that's on the screen right now?
Yeah, I used Luma for that like a couple days ago.
So what are you,
where am I?
What's making you most excited right now with all the video stuff that's coming out?
Well, for me, after I started making these types of videos, I think my brain just switched from like wanting to make like dance videos and like transform people. It went to like, I want to just make these like, well, for me, I really like these characters, these like crazy character designs. I just want to make things that would be almost impossible without AI. Like if you imagine like somebody 3D modeling this and like making it like this, it's just so unbelievable. And like I just want to be able to imagine those and like make it happen. And like the fact that you can even get like one split second where it kind of like almost tricks your brain and being like, oh, this scene is alive. That's like the driving factor for me right now. It's like if I can like Midjourney's model is so good that I can just like, you can generate really cool stuff, which just like keep iterating on the prompt and like the variation system. You can make some like really crazy stuff, and then like you can like bring it to life right now, like only for like a split second, but that's cool enough for me. Just put it into a video. And then hopefully like it just gets even better. Like it can come alive for like a few more seconds. And by come alive, I mean like it's doing things, it has emotion in the video that makes sense, and it's not too jarring, and just kind of, it's like a subtle motion where it signals to your brain like, oh, this thing is real, even though the other half of your brain is like, this is fake.
Yeah, dude, these things, like I'm not gonna lie, when you started doing these, you made me wanna start doing stuff like this, even though I didn't, because I was like, it's not really my audience, and also I really like doing the transformations of people, but you know, my interest sometimes pulls me in all these different directions, and like these really aesthetic, future but retro anime, kind of realistic, not realistic, like it's definitely a place where my head gets pulled sometimes too. Yeah,
and I got so jealous when that one guy Paul Trillo made that music video using Sora. I was like, oh my god, when do the people get to play with it?
Dude, do you okay, so what's your impression of Luma so far compared to like, because you obviously spent a lot of time with Runway and with SVD making those style videos. What's your impression of Luma just since it's been out in the past like week?
I mean, it's a step up in quality. So yeah, for the most noticeable thing is the quality and how it maintains a lot of the resolution and quality of the initial image. I haven't really tested just text to video. I mostly image to video with Midjourney images, and it just it's able to maintain it. It seems to struggle a bit in terms of making the character do more things. Of course, my inputs are really out there. Like it's not like a normal person in like a normal scene doing something normal that maybe the model was trained on. It's some crazy character in some crazy future whatever world. So understandably, it's hard to get results, but I'm just trying to push it just because that's what I like to see and make that type of stuff. But it's been, yeah, like in the video that I just made, it's really interesting that it's able to maintain the quality of the image, recognize that there's a character in the middle, even if the character is all masked up in future and like tubes everywhere, it still recognizes that this is a character. And maybe it's because like it also processes the depth within its whatever process. It's able to do a good depth map and then like figure out what is what. And then, yeah, it's just interesting to play with so far. I'm making another video with it currently, and then just trying to explore the types of things it can do. But yeah, it's out of the image to video services I've used so far, it's definitely the best quality. Yeah.
So, and I'm guessing you've seen the examples for Gen 3 that have been shown. So since Gen 3 is mainly going to be text to video, I think it'll be really interesting to see what Gen 3 spits out with the prompts you use to get your characters out of Midjourney.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, maybe I should try those. Oh, I did try that with Dream Machine. Actually, I put some of my prompts that I used to generate those futuristic characters directly in. Or actually, no, it wasn't the same prompts. I used a different prompt. But yeah, image to video is still the fact that it can do a good image to video from an image that doesn't like stray away from the input is important to me. And it's cool that it can do that. That was what I was most excited about with Sora, because I heard that it can do image to video. So I was like, damn, like if Sora can do a good image to video, imagine like the possibilities.
Seriously, man. I think we're all waiting on that one. And also I was wrong right there. Spence just mentioned in the Discord chat, and he works at Runway. He said that Gen 3 will have image to video, which based on the text to video stuff they've shown, I can only imagine is going to be pretty insane.
Sick. I'm excited. Spence works at Runway. I didn't know that. That's dope.
Yeah, man. Spence is a technical artist / researcher at Runway.
Spence's stuff has been awesome. The controller.
If you guys haven't seen what Spence has done and the direction he's taken his stuff since he was last on the stream with us, you guys need to go check it out, because he's taken what he showed on that stream last time he was on and amplified it about like 5 or 10 times. So you need to go look at Spence's new stuff and see exactly what he's doing.
It looks so cool. He's literally a AI VJ.
Hey Spence, put a link in the Discord chat and I'll put it in Twitch. Nor any links you put in Twitch won't show up. There you go. I'll link your Instagram into the Twitch chat, because we are spreading love for everyone in here today. Boom, guys, go check out.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
I've always wondered about the possibility of like live AI VJing. I'm sure it's been done, but so Spence just takes it to another level.
Spence, do you wanna talk about that real quick, and where you kind of see that going as far as like live VJing with diffusion?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's only going to get crazier from here. Yeah, right now I'm just rendering stuff ahead of time, but I can definitely see a point where we can basically be prompting on like an A and a B channel, like two different decks of things coming through, and you're prompting, and you have like 10 options you could switch to at any moment seamlessly or something. Like, it's going to get to that point. I think it's already cool to start thinking about what it will be like once it hits that point, and like what's like, kind of preparing for that, but also trying to get there even more quickly and trying to emulate that. So very excited for that kind of stuff. I think there still is a lot to be gained in terms of like being in a flow state while you're creating content. And that's why I like real-time content. And like, that's why DJing is so cool, and creating music. So I'm very excited to see kind of where that goes.
I'm just imagining like for example, you controlling like with the controller and all the and on the computer, and then there's somebody else with another computer live prompting.
Oh yeah, like a full AI band. Yeah.
AI visual band. Oh, that's sick.
I mean, there were, because like think about how in like in the 90s and in the early 2000s you had like DJ collectives like the Executioners, right? And they would all like bounce back and forth on the turntables at the same time. Think about that, except with like live AI.
Be kind of hilarious. And also, and then now you have the third member of the team where you're generating live audio on the spot and prompting live audio and then mixing it.
Yeah, live control of like lights and stuff like that with AI could be pretty cool too.
Just just entire crews of people getting together to certainly not make art.
Come to our not art concert. You'll have fun, I promise. No boobs in the promise.
Okay, so Willis, where do you, so you've been around this stuff longer than I have. You've been doing this for roughly about 2 years now. Like you're edging a couple of us out here. What and for the most part, you've done this just kind of like because you enjoy doing it for fun, because you know you have a very real full-time job, and you obviously take some freelance stuff on the side with it every now and then. But where, like, let's say 6 months out from now, where do you think things go? Do you think Animate Diff still is the thing? Do you think something comes out to even like battle it on that end? Where do you see everything kind of going based on what you've seen so far in your time with all this?
Oh man, it's hard to say at this very moment. We've kind of like open source wise, the last time I like got like that feeling was when Animate Diff first came out, when there was that little like paper and then like those little few previews. I was like, yeah, this is the next thing. Like, and then they figured out context windows and I was like, oh wait, this is getting sick. And I haven't really been keeping up as well. I like took a break for a month recently just because I kind of like just had to focus on real life stuff. But now that other services are dropping this like Sora inspired video models, like I'm just like back to try it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say right now. I don't know. Have you seen anything going on in the open source world in terms of animations that are really like piquing your interest?
I mean, there's always too much to even keep track of when we're so narrowed into our little niche. Recently, we saw this thing called Flatten, which apparently is not new, but it was new to me and a couple other people who saw it, and it's like a really strong style transfer thing that like sticks to the subjects really, really well. That seems like it would be better suited for almost like faux CGI VFX type stuff. But that's something that I want to play with really soon. Pers told me last night that to run like 20 frames took like 5 minutes. So that I don't know how viable that is for someone like me to make videos with, but it's called Flatten. If anyone else wants to go search it up and check it out. Oh man, I'm always just trying to keep up with all the open source, everything that's happening in the open source side of the community. And I think it's really important to be surrounded by a group of people that are also doing this, that aren't doing the exact same thing as you. That way everyone can keep each other informed, because every day it's just like, this paper got released, this model got released, and it's just like if you're trying to one-man band it, it gets insanely overwhelming. And I don't know, I find it hard to like imagine being able to like make quality things if you're just always testing the new thing, because there's so many new things.
Yeah, it's so hard to like keep up. My analogy is like, it's literally, you're just standing like in front of like this giant waterfall, and the waterfall is everything that's happening, and all you have is a little bowl like to catch some water, and then you're drinking out of your little bowl. That's like my image of like being involved in AI like art stuff. Like you can only like chip away at one thing at a time, but there's a ton of things everywhere like all the time, and like people are making new things all the time. It's just like, but yeah, it goes back to what you're saying. Like, you just have to like focus on one thing that you feel like will make something that you want, and then refine it. And then, and then the other thing is like, it happens a lot with me because my personality is like, if I see something else that I'm really interested in, I kind of just like stop doing what I was doing and just go to the next thing. It helps to do that sometimes, and then just to explore what's out there and like see what other things can do. And then, yeah, I've been using all these like closed source resources, these image to videos, and I know there's like that whole open source versus closed source thing. Like people want things to be free, democratized, and like we don't want the corporations and companies. But at the same time, like these closed source companies are making really dope stuff, and then they have like the resources and computing power to make these insane models. So it's worth it to just keep an open mind and like play with stuff that you're interested in.
It's, I mean, as nice as like the idea is of everything staying open and free forever, I think we all know eventually that like what happens to the cool thing if it stays too cool for too long. We all know what happens. So it's up to everyone who is into this now, which I believe everyone who's messing with this stuff is still early. Because like if we were to look at like in the grand scheme of like the population, right, and the amount of people that are actually playing with AI art tools and making stuff like really meaningful with it, I think it's really, really small. And I think it's up to the people that are doing all of the cool stuff now to just stay ahead, because pretty soon, man, like we're not that far off from people being able to make what we're making now on their phones, right? Like, and we'd be fools to think if we're not a few years off from that. But I think the people that are into it will, by the time that happens, be on to the next thing. And I haven't been more consistently excited about creating stuff than I have in the past year. Like every couple of weeks, I'm more hyped about something, and then I'll get like this massive creative burnout thing because it's just like 100 miles an hour for way too long, consistently. But then I'll see something in like 2 or 3 days of feeling burnt out that's just completely like, oh, I got it.
Dude, yeah, I can totally feel your excitement just from the things you post. And like from the moment like we first talked and like you started playing with the warp, you just been going like, you just went 0 to 100 and just kept going at 1,000.
It's
pretty crazy.
I've been trying to keep up with you this entire time, man. No, but so Willis, before we close out here, the last thing I want to ask you is like, there's a lot of people that watch these streams that still are just generating images, and maybe it's like hardware limitations that they haven't quite got into the animation side of things and whatnot, which thankfully with some of the closed source stuff and websites like Runway and Luma and whatnot, it's getting into making things move more accessible for people. And now people that have these massive libraries of images have places where they can go and like just drop those images in and breathe some life into them. But for people that want to get into the animation side of things and maybe start trying to dive into stuff like Comfy or Animate Diff, what's some like just like some advice you would give someone who's just starting out that's very overwhelmed by it all as like a way to kind of manage all the stuff they deal with trying to learn how to use these things?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The sheer amount of workflows and all those nodes and everything is just so daunting, for sure. And yeah, the way I got into Comfy UI, and I'm like no expert at Comfy. Like I'm really not technically that great at Comfy. I just kind of, the way I did it was I would look at things that people would make and like, or look at workflows that people have made and try to separate out try to figure out what the nodes are doing, and then like make something simple and like start simple and make something, and then you just kind of, whatever you're trying to achieve, see if you can find the right nodes for. And like there's like nodes for like everything now. There's so much. Yeah, as far as Comfy goes, that's the advice I would give. Basically, just there's so much workflows that people have already made that you don't have to start from scratch. You can kind of reverse learn your way. Just like take a workflow, try to take it apart and see what does what, and then see the results that come out, and then iterate from there. Because it's all just iteration. Like it's all just an experiment. You're gonna you're going to keep tweaking one thing for like hours and then move on to the next thing to tweak, and so that's just how it goes with that kind of node based thing. But there's definitely a lot of workflows that you can just download and like plug and play, but it helps to figure out what every node does. That way you can customize it to whatever you're trying to achieve. And like all the little values, like I don't know how you would learn what they do except you just run them at like increments. Like let's say like in the control net mask, you're like running the control nets from like 0.1 to 1 and seeing what they do. Like after you see what they do, you kind of get an idea of what you like at what certain parameters. So it's all experimentation.
And I think that's exactly right. And the process of like getting better at using these tools, even if we're talking about ones where it's just like you drop an image into one of like Luma or something, like it's very rare that the first thing you get back is the good thing. And it's like you have to find the enjoyment in the process of like, oh, not yet. Because then when you finally get the thing that you like, it's like it's going to feel that much better, and you're going to be so like stoked that you created it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even with that's a good point. With the closed stuff, like with Luma, for example, like the way I approached it is I would try a few type of prompts and a few types of images. I just took random images that I have from all the stuff I've generated and just threw it in and try to extrapolate on what it could do. And then like once I kind of like know that like I know it can do this specific thing, like for example like this like desert scene, I know it can make the sand below in the scene and make it seem like a real desert and the crowd in the back move a little bit. I know it can do that, but it just takes like sometimes you have to change the words around, change the orders of the words of the prompts, change how you frame the input image. Like I know it can do that, and then at the end, like after like 5 tries it did it. I'm just like, that's super sick. Like I don't know. It's just gratifying to like see something like that.
Right on, man. Well, hey, tell the people all the places, if there's more than just Instagram, that they can find you if they want to keep up with you.
Yeah, I mostly just post on my instagram.com/Willis.Visual. And then that's pretty much mostly where I post. Everywhere else is just a repost from when I make a post on Instagram. So I'm on Threads, YouTube, TikTok, but those are just kind of, I'll post it because it's there, but I mainly just post on Instagram. Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, hey, Willis, I really appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with me and chat with us today. I know you don't do stuff like this very often, and you're usually hard to get a hold of. So I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, man. No, thank you. To me, you're a legend. There's no what I do without you being dope enough to actually help me when I reached out and was like, hey, can you help me install this thing? I have no idea what I'm doing.
Bro, it's an honor to be here talking to you, and like with so many familiar names in the chat. That's so dope. And like I should definitely hang out with everybody more on Discord. And yeah, I mean, everything you said about me, likewise to you, because you're doing such crazy stuff, and like with the workflows and like freaking like getting that thing on Coachella, that was freaking amazing. That was fire. So you're just doing all the cool things. So props to you, man. And like keep it up, and we will definitely catch up another time again.
For sure. Well, with that being said, we are going to close it out here. Guys, don't forget, tomorrow, same place, same time, we're going to be back with another guest creator stream, and we have my man, Make It Rad, joining us. I don't know what he's going to show us or what we're going to be going over, but all I know is that it is for sure going to be rad. If you are at all curious, check out the post we made on the Civitai social medias today, and go check out his Twitter at MakeItRad1. And we will see you tomorrow. Twitch, we are out. This is Civitai.com. I am Tyler. This is Willis.Visual. Go follow him on Instagram. We appreciate you guys. Catch you tomorrow. Peace.
Have a good one.
Willis, you